We have been rightfully focused on the tragedy, the loss of life with the American Airlines flight, but as been pointed out by my colleagues, so many problems at Newark, and as I go into the summer season, it's hard to believe that they won't get worse. And then just across the country. There was one incident, a near miss, recently. It was on March 28th between a Delta flight and a military aircraft shortly after the tragedy, actually, where the military flight was just 500 feet below the Delta flight. And the Delta pilot said, I'm paraphrasing, but it was picked up from air traffic control. Is there actually a flight 500 feet below us? That flight was headed to Minneapolis, contained a bunch of Minnesotans, families. One of my staff members was on that flight. And I had asked and I appreciated that the DOT got back to me close after it, but I'm still waiting for a final answer about what happened. Do you know, could any of you give me a timeline on that?
Yes, ma'am, I believe I can. So
okay.
What occurred was the military flight was doing a national flyover over Arlington, and it was opposite direction to departure traffic at DCA. Potomac TRACON, which is the radar approach control that feeds all the aircraft into DCA, was working the military flight. And there was a communication exchange between the supervisor at Potomac and the supervisor at DCA. And what I mean is the Potomac supervisor coordinated with DCA to stop departures at a certain time. And that stop time is you stop departures and let the flyover proceed. You sterilize the airspace, essentially, to keep traffic safe. The controller or the CIC that was at DCA misunderstood the time or misunderstood the verbiage on what that stop time was. So they let one more aircraft go versus holding that aircraft on the ground. In reviewing that, we said we have to clean up the phraseology and how we give times to ensure that we know exactly which aircraft we're going to stop and keep that kind of incident from occurring. So what we did, we put both of those facilities together along with the management team to ensure that we had a better process in place to keep that from happening again. So that was unfortunately an event that happened, but we improved the procedures to keep something like that from happening again, ma'am.
Okay. And then what about, as you look at changing the processes and protocols, how about the number of people that are working there? In general, what are the FAA's hiring targets for the next 3 years when it comes to air traffic control for 2026, 2027, 2028?
Thank you for the question, ma'am. So this year is 2,000. Next year it's 2,200. The following year it's 2,300. And the year after that it's 2,400. Those are the FAA hiring goals. And it's quite robust, but with Secretary Duffy's supercharged hiring, I believe that that's a target that, quite honestly, we will achieve.
And so how many down will we be even with those targets?
So for the first time, are you asking me about 100% staffing, or do you think we're going to have further attrition?
100% staffing.
So right now, I believe the number is that we're 3,000 short controllers, I believe is what the number was. And right now we have 3,100 trainees that are in the pipeline. We have to account for attrition, meaning we're going to see controllers retire, controllers separate. With the numbers that I'm speaking to, I think we'll finally start gaining traction this year where we outpace attrition, and then we'll start seeing over the next 18 to 24 months where we actually see a positive gain in the controllers, and we start feeling better about where our staffing targets are and how we're staffing the facility. Senator Klobuchar, I'm sure you can appreciate that it takes time to make a quality air traffic controller. It's a high-skilled position. The average time to certify across the country is approximately 2 years from when they graduate. So it's going to take some time to get this process done and make sure we have
it's one of the reasons, as we look at the FAA reauthorization from a year ago, that we decided on a bipartisan basis to add funding. And it's just one of the things that bothers me outside of the air traffic control world is just when the administration engages on attacks on government employees just wholesale, or says, hey, we want everyone to be fired that's only been there 2 years, or whatever it is, it doesn't exactly make it an enticing place to work. And so I hope you bring that back to the administration in general, because it just keeps happening. And then people don't want to work there. They don't think they have job security. It doesn't seem like a great place to go. And then we don't get people that work there. And then you don't get medical devices approved, or you don't get planes to leave on time, or worse. And so that's just one of the things I want to pass on. I have one last question, Mr. Chair. It's very short. Mr. Hybeck, I've been working to get federal funding for the third oldest air traffic control tower in the country. That's in Duluth, Minnesota. Representative Stauber, Republican from the House, and I and Senator Smith have joined forces on this. We've seen flooding, and there's an air base up there. There's a National Guard air base. Cirrus is up there that makes jets, and then we of course have an airport. So just anything you can do. We just got a grant, which was helpful, and got one last year as well. But we are only about 20% in, and we need more funding for that because it really is the third oldest tower in the nation.
I'm glad that we could provide grant funding to start that project, and we'll see continue to support it.
Okay, thank you.